a grateful city gathers. The men and the women of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department and police departments all across the country are often quiet, observant. They enter a room and bring with them the weight of the world. Ever aware of what could go wrong, knowing that it's their duty to respond in a time of crisis, always ready to act. But Jim, despite all he had seen in more than 20 years on the force, he always entered a room with a smile. He was a tireless public servant. He was an unapologetically cheerful officer. He was a kind friend. The headlines from last week told us that we lost one of IMPD's deputy chiefs. Stories reminded us of the many hats Jim wore throughout his career. Sworn officer, district commander, assistant chief, deputy chief. But of his many titles, those he wore most proudly were son, brother, husband, father, Popo. That's why we loved him. And that's why these seats are filled today. They're filled with Jim's family at home, his family at work, his family in our great city. Because in public life, we may hold many titles, but the very best public servants become our role models because of the way they embody the titles we have in common. As I look around this room, it is filled with so many different people from so many different walks of life. I'm reminded that every person Jim met was no stranger in his eyes. They were his family. Jim Waters loved other children as his own. Treated other parents and grandparents how he wanted to be treated. And watched over every man and every woman in Indianapolis as a brother would. He did it with care. He did it with understanding. And above all, he did it with love. Isn't that the kind of person that we all want to be? Isn't that the kind of city that we all want to live in? To see such a tribute as the one we join together in today, in all of its grave splendor and haunting sadness, is to grasp the magnitude of what is lost when a human life is cut short. When heaven welcomes another soul. But it is also an opportunity to reflect on what kind of people we can become, what kind of community we can create, what kind of city we can be when we are not strangers in our streets. But as Jim did, when we view one another as brother and sister, as parent and child, as family and friend. Isn't that the kind of person we all want to be? To Jim's family, thank you for allowing us the privilege, the honor of being here today. And thank you for sharing this wonderful man with our community. The poet says that tear-filled eyes see what dry eyes will never see. Today, through tear-filled eyes, our community comes together to see how one man's life has influenced an entire city. Let us together seek to live as Jim lived. Let us together seek to serve as he served. Let us together seek to love as Jim loved. I thank God for Jim's life and his witness. Amen.